There you go.
Yeah. Oh.
Good.
Okay.
Now you're nice.
Okay.
Now you're
Are
nice.
you rolling me? Okay, rolling. Okay. Yeah, because
We're gonna go to midnight tonight, and we're still sitting here correcting details.
Yeah. Today we are at DoACircle's office together with Helle Priess.
Yes, great.
The CEO of DoACircle. Tell us a little bit more about DoACircle.
DoACircle is a platform that is targeting self-employed people, freelancers, entrepreneurs, and startups with all kind of services that you need to run your business, but also your private life. So I have a corporate background myself, and when I jumped out of that world 10 years ago, one of the first things I did was to call my insurance company and tell them, listen, now I've left the corporate world, can you please move my insurances to my own name? And I was told that this is not possible because it's a corporate policy and now you're on your own. And a few days later he got back to me with a so-called offer that was ×5 on the price. Wow. For less favorable terms and conditions. Huh. And that was like the first time where I realized, hey, something is really wrong here. Simple things like mobile subscription plans, software subscription plans, basically everything you need to sign up for as an individual is much more troublesome as an individual compared to a corporate. A year and a half ago, the most conservative figure I could come across said that 30% of the global workforce was already self-employed. According to World Bank right now, it's actually 48% of the global workforce. But we still have a world that to a very great extent is still designed by corporates, for corporates, and based on corporate employees' needs. Right. So what we want to create here is really a 360-degree support platform for self-employed people.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great introduction. Okay, thank you so much. So for myself, I used to be an independent doer as well. So for a while I was doing writing, I was doing freelancing. I was just looking at all my other friends. They are getting all these really great benefits.
Exactly.
They get like gym memberships at a lower rate. They pay less for their phone bills. They get insurance coverage as well. So I was actually thinking like, wow, I wish I had something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So apart from insurance, what are the other things that you have on?
We have insurance, we have healthcare, we have business solutions like what we call office passes that we have created together with another amazingly Singaporean startup. So you're not tied to one single co-working space anymore. We also have gym memberships, as you said. So, and this is basically just the beginning because we are still an early stage company. We are still a startup.
Are there any other things that you can help, the independent doers? Apart from getting them like cheaper gym membership, like lower insurance rates, are there any other things that DoACircle is doing to help independent doers?
Yeah, definitely. So we are building a community also. So at least once a month we are having community events where we invite relevant speakers to share relevant topics to our audience. So that could be like talking about media coverage, how to get the right media attention, which is a struggle for a lot of startups and entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. For myself, when I was doing independent work, freelancing, running my own businesses, one of the things that I struggled with was that I was working alone.
Exactly.
So there was a lot of like loneliness. I don't know who to turn to. So that's great that you are starting like this community. So I'm pretty sure you interact a lot with the people within the community. So what are some of the pain points that you see the independent doers face?
There are tons of them, I would say. Okay. The top pain points that we have come across has actually been healthcare and insurance. This is really difficult to understand areas, and it tends to be fairly expensive areas to cover yourself within. Followed closely by financing, banking. Giving one example, getting a credit card can be a big struggle for a freelancer. You might have fluctuating income, and the banks, they per tradition do not like this. So we see a lot of freelancers having troubles getting credit cards from some of the banks. Okay. Why should it be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times more expensive for an independent doer to get a software compared to when you're in a corporate setting?
How do you think corporates should respond to the change that we are witnessing, like with more independent doers coming up?
I think they've already started responding, basically.
Okay.
So I think we see more and more corporates using more and more freelancers.
Okay.
Part of the story is, of course, that they would like flexibility in their workforce. Another thing is that some of the best talent cannot even be hired anymore. They want to be their own bosses. They want to structure their lives in a different way, so they want to work on a project basis. What we have then seen is that over the past many years, lots of corporates, they've become more and more aware of corporate social responsibility and the way that they treat their employees. What I would like to see is that we extend those benefits to the freelancers also, because the freelancers, when I look at it, is somehow the future workforce. So you cannot continue to look at the in-house employees and the freelancers as something separate. A lot of these big corporates, they have already figured out that they cannot really innovate in-house. So you see more and more big corporates setting up smaller units on the outside of the corporates who have already started moving into co-working spaces, and that's where the real innovation is really taking place.
As an ex-independent doer myself, I think...
You're still an independent doer, right?
Well...
Because now you're running SBO, so I think we could still claim that you're an independent doer.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Working with many independent doers also requires some kind of structural change within the corporates and the startups, right? So what do you think corporates and startups need to change in order to work with independent doers more effectively?
I think you need to have a mindset change in terms of letting go of what used to be or what is or what have we always done.
Which a lot of corporates have.
Exactly.
With that, right?
And that's probably the biggest thing that needs to go somehow. So it's not a quick fix that you're gonna see a change to overnight. And I think that's also the reason why you see more and more corporates realizing for innovation and for change, we really need to work with some of the younger startups for us to drive things through faster. And also in order to test out things. Maybe once in a while testing things outside of the core segment of your business. That also gives you the opportunity to test and fail and correct before you launch it in the core setting.
So you mentioned that the future is already here, right? So I want you to look deep into your crystal ball and tell us that what do you think, 48%, is it going to grow? And then how is the landscape for independent doers going to change?
The important thing is that it is a huge group of people, and that change has already taken place. This is not a trend. This is not something that is going to go away again. I foresee that people are getting more and more independent as we move along. If you look towards some European or Scandinavian countries, for instance, Finland being one of the most progressive ones, you already have rules about how much of your work time that you can spend outside of the workplace. A small Danish design company that has all of a sudden, I think it was last week that they launched it, they have implemented a 4-day working week. Wow. So I'm not foreseeing a future where we end up just working 2 days a week and then the rest is just happy-go-lucky and having fun. It's more about giving flexibility to the people in order to structure their own lives. Do you need to spend your time commuting to and from the office? Or could you as well spend some of your working time at home more efficiently actually, because you're not getting disturbed, you're not getting distracted. I foresee a future where also the corporates, they get much more flexible in terms of work-life balance, in terms of how we structure our lives, in terms of how we structure our work, in terms of where we can work from. I would also foresee that you would see much more corporates having many more office locations, for instance, using co-working spaces more in order to give more flexibility to the employees in terms of where they want to work. Some of the big corporate banks in the world, their office environment is not necessarily the most inspiring, while as some of the same banks, they've already established offices and co-working spaces, and when you go into those offices, then you have a completely different, vibrant kind of environment. So the way that we work here, I think everybody in the team are working extremely hard. It is a startup, but what we also see is that you can run to the gym in the middle of the day. So I'm completely happy with people going to the gym at noontime or in the afternoon or coming in a bit later in the morning, if that is what requires to clear their mind. And that doesn't mean that we are less productive. I actually think that means that we are more productive because we allow ourselves to take those breaks once in a while. And that's probably something that is a little bit special for a startup, or where you have like extremely flexible ways of working.
Startups are all about challenging norms, doing things differently, you know, and corporates are responding to all these changes that startups has already initiated. So how do you think corporates are going to do benefits differently now that maybe they are paying attention to DoACircle?
We're actually working as we speak on an enterprise model.
Right. Okay,
so we're actually working with some corporates, but actually building a model where the corporates, they can also support the freelancers, but under a DoACircle platform. You should feel secure and safe no matter where you are. So your solutions in the future should not be tied to one corporate. I think your solutions should be tied to yourself as an individual, so that you can move around with your solutions, so that it's not like when you have done your freelancing project with this company and you're out of that company, then all the benefits, they fall away again.
Wow, interesting. The interesting development, like now you are going to work with corporates to offer employee benefits.
That's what we're looking at.
Cool.
Yes.
All right, so that was Helle Priess from DoACircle.
Thanks a lot for having me here today. That has been really great. So to you out there, if you really like what you've seen here, I think you should go and like SBO on their Facebook page and subscribe to their YouTube channel. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, ready, let's roll.
Ready? Okay.
Check out blah, blah, blah.
Shake your arms. Shake your arms.
Okay, upbeat, okay. Is such this if you like to see more of this, okay.
You don't need to memorize. I think that's the whole trick. Like, hey, if you like what you just saw, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook.